So this is where he starts putting like the designs on, and okay, all right, I'm back. So today's episode is kind of like, I don't know if it's a review or if it's I don't know what to call this, you know what I'm saying? But what I've been noticing is that, you know, I'm going back to look at some of my old favorite YouTubers and stuff like that, and I'm just looking at their process, and I'm like, wow, like my process is like a little bit of theirs and a whole lot of mine. And I'm not trying to say that mine is better or theirs is better, because, you know, honestly, if you can knock the process out in like 1 minute, then you're good, you know what I'm saying? Or if you can make a template that knocks the process out in like 30 seconds is good, you know what I'm saying? Or, I mean, if it takes you like an hour to do it, you know what I'm saying? That's good too. You know, it doesn't really matter if it's a small process or a long process. If you get there, it's your process. But I'm going back and I'm looking at some of my old favorite YouTubers, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's time that I talk about it and, you know, reveal some things, stuff like that. So one of my favorite YouTubers from way back in the day was Nace, you know, big guy, Phlearn, you know what I'm saying? 2013, I don't know when he came on. I think it was like 2011 when he came on the scene, but 2013 was when I was watching. I was in design school at that time at Full Sail. And, you know, I was just, honestly, the man had me hooked, you know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, I'm going to live and die by Photoshop. I don't care about anybody else. This is what I'm doing. Forget Illustrator, you know what I'm saying? Forget, you know, Dreamweaver. If we had to do like anything, any mock-up for like a website, I was going to do it on Photoshop. And, you know what I'm saying, I didn't need to do Dreamweaver because I wasn't going to be doing any coding back in the day. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? That stuff just did not matter to me. And Nace came on the scene, and it was just the stuff. You know, I didn't have to worry about anything. You know, it was just that was where I was at with it, you know? So when he hit, this is where I was learning most of my Photoshop stuff. And it stands as a good basis, you know, it stands as a good ground, good base for myself, because, you know, he did what he had to do. Now, I'm going to just play back his t-shirt template designing, and you can watch with me, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to, you know, show the whole video or anything like that, but just some highlights, stuff like that. But his method, it's not an orthodox method because a lot of people use it. It's not an unorthodox method because a lot of people use it. It's not an orthodox method because a lot of people shy away from it. So it's like that in between, you know. I don't use it no more like that. Like I tried to, and I don't know. At the time, I guess I wasn't really getting the results because I didn't have a pen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have Apple Pencil like I do now. But I don't even know if I would still use it. So we'll find out at the end of the video. So if you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button. But we're going to go ahead and get into this.
Hey guys, and welcome to Phlearn. My name is Nace.
Hey,
and you can
Aaron.
find me on Phlearn.com, where we make learning Photoshop and photography fun. And
Man, like I said, this dude had me hooked on Photoshop. This Photoshop alone, man, you know what I'm saying? And it's just cool to now be a YouTuber too. I think I started watching him at like 50,000, and I'm now at 50,000. Now he's at 1 million. You know, he's at 1 million. He's probably going on 2 million. I don't know. But I definitely want to, you know, give like a shout out to this man because he inspired my channel. I really like how he was doing things, and I really like this. So shout out to Nace.
today's episode is going to be so cool. I made a custom t-shirt template in Photoshop. We're going to show you how to use this template, and you can download it for free on Phlearn.com. We've included things like wrinkles, the shadows, and the highlights. All you got to do is pop your design into one of these smart objects, and it automatically transforms beautifully onto these t-shirts. It couldn't be simpler.
So I want to go ahead and show you guys like exactly the process that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to watch the full thing, but we're going to watch up to a point. But this is what he's doing. So look, he got the t-shirt out, and he already did the process, as you can see on the far right here. He already has it done, and that's just, you know, classic Nace. Like, he did it first, and then he goes back and talk about it, which I should probably start doing too, you know. So here we go.
Jumping into Photoshop, here is our template ready to go. So we have a front and the back of the shirt. Now, I started off by creating a selection around our actual shirts. On a new layer, we are going to go to select, down to color range, and then we can actually select the color range that is the blue in the t-shirts.
Now, like, that's hard. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? What he did was he went through and color ranged it. and so he can get the base out of the t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it might have missed some wrinkles and stuff like that. He's gonna go back and get that, but that's really cool that he was able to do that there. You know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning stage of all this, you want to be able to pick out, you know, the t-shirt, to cut it out, and that's not always easy to do, especially if the model is not on like a background like this. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to do that. Now in this situation, that saved a whole lot of time, because normally what I would tell you guys to do is to take the pen tool and go around, but with that he was able to specifically get out just the shirt and then go back in and clean up what he had to take out, like the pants and stuff like that. You know, as you can see, there's pants texture still in this, and then just other things that he wanted to get out. So I really like how he did that.
So that's how I actually selected out the blue from the t-shirts. Now from that selection, what I did is created a layer mask. So I'm gonna hold Alt or Option, and you can see this is my exact layer mask. We've got basically a really clean layer mask of the shirt.
So like I said, he went through and he cleaned it up. Not really too much on this side right here, on the right side, where you can see like just a few wrinkles and stuff like that. But he did go through and clean it up, and that's pretty cool. And you know, one thing that goes to say without even showing you guys is the fact that he did it on a hue saturation. So when you go in, you can just, you know, change the color through the sliders and stuff like that. You can change it. I mean, he talks about it. I mean, watch.
Saturation adjustment layer. Okay, so when you guys download this template, you can change the color of the shirt extremely easily. All you have to do is double click right over here on our adjustment layer, and here I can change the color. I just click and change my hue. There we go. We can have any color shirt that we want.
The real problem about this right here, and this is just, you know, from me, is that he didn't colorize this. So when he went and did that, I mean, it was cool to do. Like, that's cool. But as you can see, like, he's on the yellow right now. And that yellow is green because the shirt up under it still has its original saturation, which would be blue. You know what I'm saying? So if he would have, like, dropped the saturation on the shirt and then maybe put the colorize on the actual hue saturation, he'd have got more of the actual true color that we want, you know. And then he can mess around with the saturation in this hue saturation slider to get, you know, a more desaturated shirt or a more bright, vibrant color shirt, you know. So that's possibly the first X that I saw on this, but as of right now, it's a stable mock-up. All right, it's a stable color change. It's just not a true color change, you know.
I can change my saturation. You can go like down to gray, you can go super saturated, and you can even make it lighter or darker if you want to as well. So basically any color you can think of.
See, and that was the situation, you know, as he tried to go further into the lightness, it didn't go white because it got blown out, you know what I'm saying? Had he just dropped the saturation in the background and you know, then did the actual color thing or whatnot, you know, it would have worked out a little bit better for him. Now that was kind of a mix. As Aaron Nace, I saw that, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I actually downloaded the mock-up. I'm gonna talk about it when I get there.
Think of is going to look great on this shirt. So that's the first part, which I think is incredibly cool, and the next part is even cooler. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that's the color we want. Again, if you want to change this color at any time, just double click there, change these sliders, and you're good to go. All right, next we have our actual designs, and this I'm actually particularly proud of.
So this is where he starts putting like the designs on, and this was a good process because back in the day, a lot of people used to say like, oh shoot, just throw on the design and liquify it. You know, as you can see, it's a liquify right there. You know, just liquify it and it should move with the wrinkles. Like if you have, you know, a brush or a pencil that you can use the brush with, you know, all you have to do is just drop the brush pen sensitivity. All you have to do is drop the pen sensitivity and move with the actual wrinkles, and therefore you get your wrinkles in your design. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a bad idea. You know, the only problem is people like to move the design around. So we're going to see what that looks like, you know.
I'm going to show you guys how we did this. So we started off by creating a couple of smart objects that are actually in the shape of the t-shirt. So basically, if we hold down Control or Command and click here on the t-shirts, we're going to create a new layer, all right? And then with just a random color here, I'm just basically showing you guys the quick version of what I did to create these templates. All right, so basically we have a t-shirt there that's on its own layer, okay? What I did is right click on here, went down to convert to a smart object, okay? Now, as a smart object, we can use smart filters, like the Liquify filter, and this is really cool because the filter, the Liquify filter, applies to the smart object, but you can actually change what's inside of the smart object at any time. Let's just lower the opacity of this layer just a little bit. There we go. And then basically run a filter. We're going to go to filter and down here to Liquify. Okay? And then here in our Liquify filter, basically I'm going to hit the show backdrop button so I can see what the wrinkles in the shirt actually look like. Then using the forward warp tool, I just moved the shirt with the actual wrinkles in the background. Okay? So basically following each individual wrinkle, I actually moved those around. All right. So that's the idea of what I did to create this filter. Now the coolest part about this, guys, is all you have to do is double click on the filter, on the smart object itself, and then if I want to just create a word, we'll just say hi here. Why not? Hi guys, how you doing? All right, let's go ahead and go down to our character. I'm going to make that white. There we go. All right, we're going to put that right over there. Now I'm going to make this layer invisible. All right. We're going to just save this out, and you're going to see as I save it, it automatically updates here.
So, as you can see, with him dropping down the opacity, you can see more of the shirt. That's kind of I don't really like that process. A lot of people was doing that back in the day, like, oh, just drop the opacity down and you can see the actual wrinkles of the shirt through the actual graphic. You don't see it that much because he didn't drop it too much down, and that's pretty cool because I know in the final document, it's not really, I think it's at 75. We're going to look at it in a minute, but as you can see like some of that wrinkle right there in the shirt, and that's cool and all, but I much rather you guys throw the image above the actual document, above the actual layer that you're using to make the graphic on the smart object layer, and then multiply it down, because then you get the darkness of that shirt going on top of the document or the graphic or whatnot. And at this point, like, that tutorial's over, because he doesn't really explain everything else that goes along with it, you know. Now he does, like, in different versions of different, I guess you would say in different videos, he do actually talk about some of his process that he do go forward with in these, like, in this kind of like tutorial here, but he doesn't talk about it here. All right, so the tutorial's done right at this point. You know, what you would do is just go ahead and download his mockup, and then you would get it in a TIFF format where you can, you know, look at it in Photoshop. So we're gonna go to Photoshop and we're gonna continue it out. Now, he included the layer where he finished it, you know, which is cool and all, but here's his actual document. And layer 2 would be his design for the back, and layer 3 would be the design for the front. And as you can see, it's been liquefied on the top, so it kind of moves with the actual shirt, which I kind of feel like is too much in a way, because there's a little bit easier process than that. And especially, you know, in his later videos, he actually displays an easier process. But let's just kind of look at this, right? So if I turned off layer 2 or 3 and just kept on layer 2, as you can see, you have these funny little like icons on the very far right. So this first icon to the farthest right, that's the liquify, right? So it indicates that there was a smart filter that was put on top of the smart object. The second one here is a blending option. So if we double click inside of this, as we can see, we have the blend if, and it says basically you got, if this layer is towards the black, you know, you can move it around like this and, you know, it'll disappear. If it's towards the white, you can move it around and it disappears, as you can see, right? That's this layer, okay? But the underlying layer is if the shirt is freaking white or blue or something like that, like it is, you know, if it's on towards the darker spectrum of the color spectrum, if you move it around, you start seeing more of the shirt or not, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he did to show like the wrinkles. Now, like I was saying, that's not my favorite way of doing it, you know? And that's just because like you can get the wrinkles out so much better. And here's another flaw to go with this. Like if we was to bring the lightness down, right? Like, yeah, you can see it a little bit better. It looks like really cool on the shirt. But if you keep going, get into a darker blue, like you can see that it's disappearing, right? And if you get it to like 83, 84, 85, basically 90, get it to, let's say, negative 90, that's graphic is basically gone. That's the issue there. Like, we can't have a true black shirt or anything like that because, you know, the graphic will go away. We'd have to go in and kind of like fix that out. Not saying that there's anything wrong with what he did. It's just that was the process back in the day, and it's just no longer valid. You know what I'm saying? So how would I fix this, right? How would I fix this? I would go in and just get rid of this blend div. Okay? Just get rid of it. All right? And we're going to bump the opacity back up to 100. Okay? Now, Phlearn, what he did was he just took the hue saturation layer or whatnot, which is basically just to cut out of the shirt. All we have to do is just click on this, hold command or I think control for Windows. Just click on it, go to the background and just hit command J. All right? And we can just drop the saturation on this to, like, you know, look like a little bit more like this. You know what I'm saying? Make it a negative 100, and then we can move that on top of the graphics. As a matter of fact, it would work better if both of these graphics were in a group that we just call graphics. You know? Then we can just put a clipping mask on top of this and then multiply it. Yeah, it comes up like this. I get it. You know, it comes up, you know, gray. I get that. But if we hit command L, put a levels on top of it, bring that levels out, you know, this way towards, like, you know, the actual where everything is popping off, because, you know, as you can see, it was more gray than anything over here. Like, we don't have anything in this navigator, in this histogram over here. You know, there's no highlights. So if you moved it closer towards, you know, the center where there is highlights, now we can get more of that texture back. You know, we can get some more of those wrinkles in. And if we pull in the midpoint, which would be like all the midtones, we pull it in just a little bit, we can start seeing more of that shirt layer. Now, I'm going to try to do it like Phlearn would have continued it out. If we just double click on the layer 2, bring that up, yes. I'm just going to pull it out like he did. So yeah, now if we like move like Phlearn down here, hit command S, you know, and it updates itself. Mine's going to take a minute. It's not as fluid as like Phlearn's. As you can see, it's moving with everything, and you can see, you know, just more of the wrinkles and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this, though, and just kind of fix out this midpoint so it doesn't look overblown, you know. And I'm just going to go ahead and type in redone or something like that. Like, I know it's not the same font. As a matter of fact, I can't even replicate. I don't know what font Phlearn was using at the time. But I just know it was close. I know whatever he used, the font type was, the type was really close, and that's just what it was. So we'll put it in white and just hit save. Oh, and see, that's another situation that we got going on, right? He created the shirt, but he didn't make sure that whatever he made on the shirt stayed inside of the shirt, right? So if we hold command and we click again on that hue saturation layer where he cut everything out, if we go to graphics, we just put a layer mask on top of it, we got that situation. But it looks as if, you know, maybe my graphic is just a little bit too open or a little too big or whatnot. So we can just go ahead and drop this in some, or drag it in, hit command S so it can update. And there we go. Like, it looks really good. And that looks pretty good. That looks fairly decent, right? Now, as far as like this liquify, like, you know, there's not really much I can do for it. Now, the one thing that he was, you know, happy about, which I get it because it was something big back in the day, really not too big now because it's been revealed that there's a whole bunch of flaws with it, right? So, for example, if, you know, back when he was doing like this one right here, if we was to take this one down, like this graphic down to maybe right here, let's just say, and hit save, you know how like it's moving with the shirt and stuff like that? That was really cool. You know, that was something he was like really happy about. And I can understand why, because it looks really good. You know what I'm saying? And if we go back to my shirt layer and I just turned off, like, you know, the wrinkles and stuff like that, that's just what it looks like. It looked incomplete like this. I'm just in my eye, and I'm just keeping it real because, you know, without the wrinkles, it just looks, it looks better with the wrinkles. You know what I'm saying? So if I turned off the wrinkles, it don't really look as good. But the issue with the Liquify is if I was to actually just come in and just move it like this, did you see what happened? And if you notice that like nothing happened, you know what I'm saying? Because this graphic stayed the way that it was supposed to stay, that's the issue with the Liquify. Because the Liquify is attached to the actual smart object. It's cooked in, and there's not much that we can do about that. All I can say is you can just use the actual multiply layer here to get some more textures out of it. Or a better fact, the better thing to do is just go ahead and bring up like this curve adjustments layer. We can clip this here and just kind of like bring it down some. Now, I'm not going to really mess with all this because, as you can see, it's really just messing up some things. What I normally would do is I'll just take the brush on a white brush or whatnot and just go through and just brush out some of these curves here. Like, not curves, but yeah, some of these shadows, We can bring down the flow of this so it's not like too bad. And in theory, what will happen is, and I'm not using like a brush or anything, so you guys, like, this is going to be kind of jagged, but in theory, what would happen is if somebody decided to go in and just move the graphic down, it moves with the shirt just a little bit, So if I moved it down here, as you can see, if I turn off the curve, like, you see how it moves with the shirt? I'm not really too much worried about the taper shirt, like the taper of the person. I'm more concerned about the actual shirt itself. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual, I don't know what to call it. I don't really know what to call it, but the wrinkles, the wrinkles. Because if I was to put a graphic more, like another graphic inside of this, let's just open that back up. Yeah, I can't do nothing with that. And just dropping this in, as you can see, it's already working a little bit better than what Phlearn did. I'm not trying to say that Phlearn did anything wrong, but as you can see, if we put the Rodman Vans in, it moves with the actual, because I put this curved adjustment in, it actually shows more of it curving with the shirt. It's actually showing more of what's happening on the shirt layer versus it being, I'm guessing, how can I say this? We're not trying to bloat the shirt. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to bloat the graphic. We're not trying to, distort the graphic. We're trying to make it look realistic. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have to distort it to make it look real. And that's the situation. But I still love this graphic. I still love like what Phlearn was doing here. And just with time, the thing just became that much better. So, I really like to give my hats off to Phlearn. He got like 1 million subs or whatnot, and I've been following him since 2013. Actually, I would like to say 2012 because that's when I was really starting to just start doing this. I went to school for journalism and music at first, and in journalism, I was looking at a lot of stuff that Phlearn was doing because he was talking about editorial designs and stuff at that time. Then I got in a little bit, graphic design school, and I was just like, bro, I'm hooked on this guy. So hats off to him, and this looks really good. It just needed just a few little tweaks and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and re-upload this for you guys to download off my Patreon. I'm not saying you got to buy it off my Patreon, but it's going to be there. Phlearn, if you're watching, thank you, man, again. Like, you really started my channel out, and I'm happy that, you existed and stuff like that. And I'm still happy that you're still gunning out tutorials as we're talking. You know what I'm saying? So keep doing what you're doing. And you guys, that's basically it. I like this. And if you guys want to learn some more from me, go ahead and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not Phlearn level. All I do is t-shirt mock-ups, shoe mock-ups, and occasionally graphic design for like, well, not graphic design, but illustration, stuff like that. I'm going to start doing web design, e-commerce design and stuff like that, and talk about the psychology of design. But with this right here, this was just something that I wanted to do. Now, there's other people's that I am going to go after. We're not saying like I'm coming at them or anything like that, but there is other people that did like similar stuff that I want to talk about later in the future. And if you want me to review them as well, leave their leave their name, their channel name in the description, or not the description, the comment box. It's been so long, you guys. I'm having such a crazy day during this bug spray time, okay, during this beer crisis. But with that being said, you guys, this is basically it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. So stay amazing, stay creative above all else, stay awesome.